I've been using the Boundary wireless alarm system for a little over a month now, and in this video we're going to be having a look at what the Boundary system is and also what my experience is with using it. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. A massive thank you to Boundary for sponsoring today's video and also for providing me with the medium alarm kit bundle. And although this video is sponsored, everything you see and hear in the video are my own personal thoughts and opinions. Boundary have paid for the airtime and not for my review. So with that said, let's get straight into it. If you're living in the UK, then you may well have seen Boundary popping up here, there and everywhere. And the reason for this is because they're a company that's making some big waves in the smart home security scene. Boundary currently have the only alarm system in the UK that's undergoing the UK and European alarm certifications to allow it to become a Grade 2 certified alarm system. And what this means in normal terms is it's really secure. And to put that in a bit of perspective, a Grade 3 system would be typically reserved for a bank or something like that. And it isn't just really secure, it's also fully wireless. So the Boundary system utilises the Z-Wave protocol to allow its devices to interconnect wirelessly. And that connection type is also fully encrypted, so all the connectivity between the devices is all secure. To give the Boundary system its smart edge, Boundary provides you with a mobile application that's available for both iOS and Android, and you can use this mobile app to set up, view and manage the entire system. And in addition to this, you can also connect it to existing smart home platforms, things like Amazon Echo, Google Home, If This Then That, and also Samsung SmartThings. They have also said that in the future there will be other platforms added to this growing list. And if you're a Home Assistant user wondering if you can connect Boundary to Home Assistant, then the answer is kind of, yeah, kind of. If you are interested in finding out the Home Assistant stuff, I will be covering that in its own dedicated video, and when that goes live you'll be able to find a link to it in the description below. As of right now, you can only order the Boundary alarm system directly through the Boundary website, and when you place in an order you've got a couple of different choices. You can choose either one of Boundary's pre-assembled alarm kit bundles, which start off with a starter kit and go all the way up to the large kit, which also comes with an outdoor siren. Or if you wanted to, you can build your own kit using Boundary's handy questionnaire, and then at the end of the questionnaire, Boundary will suggest which kinds of devices and sensors you need for your setup. Or if you wanted to, you could just individually buy each piece of the alarm system and build it up as and when you wanted. And it's nice that Boundary has these different options as it gives you a bit of flexibility and it can help you out if you're not sure on what kit you need. And it's also great that you can just buy an individual device if you wanted to add something on later in time. It's also worth mentioning here that this alarm system does have an optional subscription service attached to it, and we are going to come back to this a little later on in the video. But for now, let's dive straight in and have a look at what you get inside that medium bundle. The bundle that Boundary sent me was the medium bundle with the outdoor siren. Inside the box you get one alarm hub, 4 PIR motion sensors, 2 window and door contact sensors, 2 key fobs, the outdoor siren and also the desk stand. The setup and install of each of these devices is very simple. The first thing you'll do is to set up the hub, and once the hub's set up you can start pairing these devices, which just involves a process of scanning a QR code on the device, removing the tab from the device, and then it will just link automatically to the hub. Once it's linked, you just need to assign it a name and assign it to a set location, and then it's done. Once you've got all of your sensors in, you can start playing around with your alarm settings, so you can adjust how you want the alarm to work, so whether you want a partial alarm or whether you want to change it so that it's pet friendly. You can do all of that from within the configuration in the app. As well as the software install being very simple, the actual physical installation is also very simple, and you've got 2 different methods that you can use. You can either use the provided double-sided tape and stick it to a wall, or if you wanted to, you can make use of the mounting hardware and you can drill it and attach it to the wall. I opted to make use of the double-sided tape for my install just because it was a lot quicker to put up the indoor sensors. Then the only holes that you need to drill are the ones to actually place the outdoor siren. The hub acts as the brains of operation for the entire alarm system. On the front of the hub you'll find a full colour touchscreen which is used to navigate through the various different menus and settings of the hub. Just next to that touchscreen you'll find some large rounded buttons which are nicely lit up, and these buttons are used just to input the pin code to arm and disarm the alarm. The hub allows you to link NFC tags to it, and you can assign these tags to users and then use those tags to conveniently arm and disarm the alarm system. Next up we've got the PIR motion sensors, but they're not the standard motion sensors that you'd expect. Inside of these motion sensors, they utilize a pair of pyroelectric sensors that help to identify the changes between the sensors, and in turn, this gives you a more accurate motion report and helps to minimize false readings. The sensors also have a sealed front lens, which helps to stop small bugs and insects getting inside of it. Another handy feature that the sensor has is it can be calibrated to ignore pets under the weight of 35 kilograms. Next up, we've got the contact sensors, which are Boundary's simplest product. You can place these on either a window or door, and when the magnetic field gets broken between the two contacts, an alert is created. The chunkier side of the contact sensor actually houses the sensor, and the slimmer side is just the magnet. And finally, onto the big boy, the outdoor siren. Just like the other products, the siren is fully wireless, but the key difference with this one is it's designed to be placed on an outside exterior wall. The siren's capable of producing a sound of up to 95 decibels, and it also features some LEDs which are used to maximise visibility and to help increase that deterrent against burglars. So we've got the alarm now all set up. I suppose we should probably find out just how loud this is. Spoiler alert, it's loud. As well as those features, the sensors and siren also have a couple of extra features that I didn't know about prior to the install, and it just adds extra value to them. So all of the products feature tamper protection, and this means that if any of the devices are messed with or touched, you'll get an alert for the individual device that was messed with, and this is great because it's going to stop anyone from messing with any of your system without your knowledge. The other really cool feature that they all have is their own individual temperature sensor, and this is really cool because if you've got a few different sensors spread across a few different rooms, you're going to be able to tell the temperature for that set room. And additionally, because the siren's outdoors, you'll be able to tell the outside temperature too. Currently, the only way to make use of the information from an individual sensor in your smart home is to link your Boundary account with SmartThings. Once you've done that, you can then integrate SmartThings into other platforms like Amazon Echo or Google Home, and then you can control and create automations based off individual sensors, which get pulled through that SmartThings integration. Another feature that all of the sensors and also the siren have in common is the fact that they're all battery powered. So all of the sensors are powered by the CR123 battery, and the siren is powered by 8 AA batteries, and both the sensors and siren estimate about 12 months of battery life. Using the mobile app, you can actually view the battery level for each of the devices, and you also get a notification when the battery level starts to get too low to help you avoid any downtime with any of your sensors. All of the sensors also feature quick release style backs, so you can easily remove them to put new batteries in place. Using the mobile app, you get an overview of all of the devices that you've got connected to your system. You can also manage users, so you can add and remove users. So if you wanted to assign somebody a key fob, you can do that. Or if you wanted to give somebody their own unique PIN code, you can also do that. One of the newer features of the app is called Activity Alerts, and this allows you to get notifications based on activity or inactivity while the alarm system's disarmed. And this might be particularly useful if you've got this set up and installed in an elderly person's home or in a friend or relatives that you want to check on just to make sure they are up out of bed and moving around. Or even if you just wanted to create an alert for when your front door gets opened or when a particular window on the house gets opened, you can do that. The speed and response for the state change of the sensors is very quick in the Boundary app. It's a little slower if using the Amazon Echo or Samsung SmartThings, but it's not so slow that you wouldn't be able to use it to trigger an automation such as turning on lights. That's been a quick look at some of the products and its features, but if you remember near the beginning, I did say that this had an optional subscription service. So now let's have a quick look at the pricing for these products and also the pricing for those subscriptions. The initial upfront cost for your system is going to be dependent on the size of house that you have and also the amount of devices and sensors that you choose to add into your system. If you were going with the pre-built bundles, the starter kit starts from $299 and it tops out at the top end with the large bundle with outdoor siren at $549. Boundary currently have 3 different subscription plans, which are Lite, Smart and Pro. The Lite one is the free one and you don't pay anything for it other than the actual upfront cost for your Boundary system. The Smart one you actually get access to for 2 months for free with every Boundary system purchase. This one has got more features than the Lite one, but it doesn't have all the features of the Pro one, which is obviously why it's not Pro. With the Smart plan, you get access to features like geolocation reminders, pet sensitivity, and also the push notifications to your phone. You also get an extended warranty on your device and you get priority technical support. If you were to go all in with the most expensive plan, which is the Pro plan, which comes in at $24.99 a month, then you're going to get access to some of the top tier features, one of which is the police response, and I think that feature in itself is alone worth £24.99 a month. If you want a bit more information on how the actual police response works, then you'll find a link to it in the description below. The other cool features of the Pro plan are the annual engineer visit from Boundary. So every year a Boundary engineer will come out and just service and check over all of your equipment, just to make sure it's working how it should. On the Pro plan, you'll also get free replacement batteries for any of your equipment, and again, that's going to be a saving in itself, especially if you've got lots of different sensors all over the house. Okay, so onto probably the most important part then. How well does it work? When Boundary reached out to me about their new wireless alarm system, I was really interested in getting my hands on it and having a play around with it, but I did have some concerns for a fully wired alarm system. Things like, how well does it work compared to a fully wired system? What happens if devices fall off the network and just disconnect? What happens if you've got large pets? And what happens if your power dies or your internet cuts out? Thankfully, Boundary can effectively answer at least 3 of those. So let's start off with the power. If you suddenly had a power cut, or if a burglar was to cut the power to your house, then there's no worries at all there, other than the fact a burglar's coming into your house. But there's no worries at all there because the whole system is fully wireless and it's all battery powered. The sensors are all going to last about 12 months, and the indoor hub, which is the main brain of the whole system, that's got backup power of at least 12 hours. So unless the burglar's going to wait for about 12 hours, which I'm sure you'd notice that you've got no power, you're going to be pretty secure. And that first point brings us nicely onto our second point of if you haven't got any internet. So more than likely, if your power's been cut, then you won't have any internet access in your home, or maybe you're having a bad day with your network provider and you've got a really patchy connection. Well, Boundary have got you covered here too. The indoor hub has got a built-in cellular backup, so should your network drop or disconnect, then it will revert to this cellular connection and then you'll still be able to get your push notifications and alerts. If you happen to own a large pet, then Boundary have also got you covered here. In the settings for the motion sensors, there's an option for pet sensitivity, and if you turn this on, it's going to ignore any pets that are under the weight of 35 kilograms. And I've got a fairly big dog, I've got a husky, and with this setting turned on, my dog's able to walk around the house while the alarm's set, and the alarm won't go off. So those first 3 concerns that I've had were all handled quite nicely by Boundary, but the final one with things falling off the network or becoming unavailable, that one's not quite there just yet. In my setup, I had a few different contact sensors and a few PIR sensors all set up around the house, and I found that the contact sensor on my office door, this one kept periodically going offline, so it'd be offline for a short period and then it would come back online, and if the state was to change during that offline period, it obviously wouldn't reflect in the Boundary system. And I actually thought that the Z-Wave would actually be able to reach it where it is, but it just seemed to not, and that seemed to be my issue here, just the range from the hub to the office contact. And the reason that I'm putting this down to range is because when I spoke to Boundary about it, they offered to send me out one of their range extenders to see if that resolved my issue, and I placed that range extender in between where the hub is and also where the office is, and since installing that, I haven't had a single disconnect on that office contact sensor, so that seems to have resolved the problem. So again, I think that is down to the range. Moving forward, I think that this issue could probably be resolved by just including some more information in the actual disconnect log. So if Boundary was to tell you that the device disconnected due to poor signal or some kind of interference, that might be a bit more helpful. Or even in the app, if you had some kind of way of visualizing what the signal quality is. Currently in the app, it only tells you if the device is connected or not, but if you could visualize what the signal was, it could tell you if it's in a good location, if the signal's good quality, or if it's poor. That way you'd know whether to include a range extender for where your device is. With those concerns aside, I've been using the system daily now for just over a month, and during that month I've had a really good chance to test out all of the features that are really applicable to me, and overall as an alarm system, it does everything that I'd need it to do. My favourite feature of the alarm system is the geolocation notifications, and the reason that I like this one so much is because if you're in a mad rush to get out of the house, you might just forget to arm the alarm. Even though you can just do it with a key fob press, you might just forget. And this one's useful because I can get down to the end of the road and it will pop up a notification on my phone asking me do I want to arm the alarm, and you can just press yes and it will just arm the system for you. And equally, that feature works great in the opposite direction, so you can get an alert to remind you to disarm the alarm as you approach the house, and this one is again really useful if you've got kids, as whilst you're unlocking the house and going in, they might start running around the house before you actually manage to disarm the alarm. There is still, however, plenty of room for improvement with the geolocation feature, and one improvement I'd like to see is being able to identify if a set member is home. And the reason for this is because I might leave the house and get a notification asking me if I want to arm the alarm as I've left, but my wife still might be home, and even though she's got the Boundary app and her own account on there, it doesn't know that she's still in the house, so it might ask me if I want to arm the alarm, and I might arm it while she's in there. I think that would be a cool feature to have, to know if a set member is home or not. That would help with your Boundary notifications, but you could also expand that out and share that information with the other smart home platforms, and then you could make use of that information in a presence sensor, so you could then run automations when a set member comes home, or you could even automatically trigger the disarm if a set member comes home. For me personally, in this month of testing, the alarm system has worked really well and it's done everything that I'd want it to do, but it hasn't been plain sailing and I have run into a few snags and issues. The first one being that issue with the contact sensor constantly going offline, but that was resolved by Boundary with the use of the range extender. I've also had a couple of big issues, and the reason that I'm calling them big issues are because they're to do with the outdoor siren, and as we all know, the outdoor siren is really loud. My first siren related issue occurred during the setup process, so after I had everything in place, I did a few siren tests just to get a gauge for how loud it was, and on one of the tests I turned the siren on and it wouldn't turn off. I think what had happened was maybe the siren had disconnected from my system, and when I did the test it turned it on but then couldn't reach it again, so it wouldn't turn it off. And my actual fix for this was I physically picked up the hub and moved it closer to the siren, and then I was able to restart a test and then turn it off. But due to this issue with the siren, it actually caused a knock-on effect with my system, and it gave me an invalid API state. So if I tried to arm my alarm system, it would tell me there was a problem, and I just couldn't actually physically arm it. But this issue gave me the perfect opportunity to actually test out Boundary's customer support. So this issue occurred on a Sunday evening, and I contacted Boundary and I had a near enough instant reply. The guys over at Boundary had a few different suggestions for things I could try and do to fix the problem, and they also remotely restarted the system, but sadly it didn't fix it. And after doing a bit of investigation, they found out the issue was due to this invalid API state, which was caused by a bug, which they've now also thankfully fixed. And as I said, that issue occurred on a Sunday evening, and I had near enough instant feedback on a Sunday. And by the following Monday morning, Boundary had managed to resolve the issue and also get a fix out. So a massive thank you to the guys at Boundary for doing that, and a big thank you to Tom and also Leslie at Boundary for a quick fix and also great customer support throughout. Before we wrap this up then, I've got a couple of features and improvements that I'd like to see in the Boundary system in future updates. My first feature would be an addition to the pricing and plans. So this feature would allow you to get some kind of bolt-on or additional coverage that you could apply to a set number of days, and this would be great if you wanted to bump up your coverage while you weren't going to be home. For example, if you went away on a holiday, you could boost your plan up from Smart to Pro just for a set number of days, and that's just going to give you a bit of peace of mind that while you're not going to be there, you've got this higher coverage where you're going to get things like the police response. I'm not really sure how that would work logically or logistically with Boundary setup, but that'd be a cool feature to have. My next feature you've actually heard me talk about throughout the video, but it would be an improvement to the app that would help aid you with placing your Boundary devices. So this would just represent what your signal level is where you place in a device, and whether it told you a set percentage or if it told you that the placement was good or poor. It would just really help. Just as a couple of improvements for the Boundary system, I'd like to see the products actually shrunk down a little bit, and the products I'm talking about are the contact sensor and PIR sensor. And maybe that's just me, maybe it's because I've been spoilt by small Zigbee sensors, but I personally think that a smaller aesthetic would be nice. The final improvement I'd like to see from Boundary would be an outdoor version of their contact sensor, and this would work in the same way the contact sensor does, apart from it would be waterproof, and you could then use that sensor on your garden gate, and that could then trigger your alarm system. Let's wrap this up then. Overall, I'm very impressed with the Boundary system. As a wireless alarm solution, it does work very well, and just from a DIY perspective, setting everything up is very quick and very simple, and you could in theory get this whole system set up in a few minutes. In my experience, the customer service has been exceptional, and their turnaround for getting that bug fixed was rapid, which is something that you want and something that you expect really for a service that you're paying for to protect your house. Boundary seem to be constantly striving to improve their service, and just over this month of using them, I've seen changes to the pricing and plans, so you've got more features available to you now as a free user, but also they've updated the app several times, and they've got new features coming out, such as instant arming using the mobile app, and a few other cool features. If you're in the UK and you're looking for a wireless alarm solution that's got a minimal setup, it's competitively priced, and it's also got a great feature set, then I would highly recommend the Boundary alarm system. And there we go guys. If you've enjoyed this video and found it useful, then don't forget to drop me a like. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell. You'll then be alerted to any future video that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons. If you're interested in helping support my channel, which in turn allows me to create content like this, then you'll find a link to my Patreon in the description below. We're now also on Discord, so if there's a particular feature or you want to know a bit more about this alarm system, then head over to Discord and we can chat about it there. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.